So,
Talk to me.
gentlemen,
Sir.
this is episode 91 of my business spotlight series. And I was born in 1991, so I figured let's be different. Let's have something out of the blue, off the cuff.
I didn't know I was older than you.
91.
I thought you were older than me.
33 years old.
Could have called me for 81.
You're 81?
81. I got 10 on you.
Wow.
Damn.
You hold that well.
Thank you.
I would
Appreciate
have never thought that.
And we're at your beautiful estate. Let's give props to Sam for hosting.
Yeah. Thank you for having us.
Anytime.
Don Alba.
Oh,
We're on
enjoy. Glad to have you guys.
Thank you, boys.
Salud.
This is delicious. by the
Great
way.
to be here.
You get Elijah.
For the chicken farm, we're going to ride a couple horses.
So Matt Bates, new father. How's that?
Beautiful. Life's never been more full. Never been more real. You know, we work real hard, and why? That's that's the reason why now. I got a big why now, bigger why than I've ever had before. He's definitely been a blessing, and looking forward to having more. There's nothing like that's happened that's like, oh shit, nobody told me about this, Yet I'm sure that's coming at some, it's just life, but
You just figure it out. There's no manual.
right,
You
exactly.
just continue to figure it all out as you go.
But he's a healthy boy, and we're super happy, and yeah, it's fun times.
Emilio's a father.
Mm-hmm.
Sam's a father.
No, that is cool. I don't have a kid, but my sister with the niece and nephew makes your hard days less hard,
Do it when you don't rush,
Yeah.
live your life, but when it happens, it's awesome.
Do you feel like you timed it just right? Like your age, where you're at in your business, your investment career? Like, do you feel that your life is perfect? It can't be perfect, but most suitable.
Yes. Yeah. It was the next thing to come. I had a thing, goals I wanted to accomplish, so that way when a child, boy or girl, comes in, they're it's about them versus them and all these other goals. And I got a lot of them, almost all of them, off my off the checklist, and it's that way you can really consume yourself in the moment, and that's so for me, yeah, it was a good time, but like I know that's not the case for everybody, but it's a beautiful thing. So I recommend everybody doing it.
Everybody go out and have a baby, huh?
With
No,
the
don't.
person that you love.
There should be a competency test before they have the kids.
That's for sure.
No one would pass. Nothing gets
We
you
wouldn't
ready.
be here. My dad. I wouldn't be here.
Oh man.
Nothing gets you ready for having a kid than having a kid.
Yeah.
Right.
It's just part of it. It's the human experience. You don't know until you do it.
Do you think less people are having kids these days? Like our generation, like, oh, I'm gonna wait, or like
For now.
our parents were in their 20s when they had kids. My mom was 21 when she had my
I think they're
sister.
having less kids. Like
Less kids too.
But I have 4 sisters. There's no way I'm have kids. I mean, God blesses me with it and whatever. But thank you. But I just can't see that. There's just that was the thing to do back then. Was have as many kids as possible, and that's not. I don't.
It was affordable too.
People are definitely having less kids, I think.
A
Right?
lot more fun. Is the world population going down or up?
The world population, I think, is going down.
Yes, that's the case. People are calculating more.
Yeah.
No, I think it's the environmental factors, what's in our food. I think it's by design.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have the numbers if it's going up or down, but I do know they say that we need to produce more in order to keep the economy where it's at and to grow. But it goes back to things we talk about all the time. You don't have the same traditional family values. It doesn't have to be Christianity, but people aren't tied in with religion, so they don't have a core foundation for their communities.
So a lot of people are.
Well, no, I'm saying it could be Christianity, could be
not as much as before. I
any
say.
number of religions that people used to tie themselves into, which would be a base for your family, which would be a base to get married and have kids and then have a community around.
I don't think you can do it successfully without having the family unit. I think if I didn't have my family behind me to hang out and do the things and be there for whatever is coming down the road, then I would be lost 100%. And that's the beauty of it, And without that, it's like just have a kid to have a kid. Like you need the family.
It's no longer the number one priority growing up. Before people grew up, met somebody, had a family. Now it's a career. We're more career driven. At least in this country and probably a lot of other countries. Now we prepare a lot more, and at the end of the day, we over prepare, and some people just don't make it. Don't make it to that point. they missed the boat to actually achieving of having a family of their own. They have an amazing career though.
Think and sink. Have you ever heard that?
Dink and sink.
Think is double income, no kids. Sink is single income, no kids.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
right now I'm a sink.
Right.
I'm single income, no kids, divorced, happily. Great woman, but it just didn't work out.
Right.
And then there's double income, no kids, like
Right.
you and Jill.
Yeah.
So that's the new thing is like, oh, we're comfortable. We got our place, or I got my place. Really, do I? And all these girls are crazy. Do I really want to bring one into my domain and put up what I've worked hard for to be vulnerable? Like, that's how I'm thinking now. I'm turning the corner on my mid 30s. Do I want to bring in somebody who hasn't been there with me since day one into this fold? And why are they here? What are their intentions? Do they know when I was putting a tile in Woonsocket and in Pawtucket and knocking down these walls and building my business? Do they know that, and do they respect that? And will they forever respect that?
Right.
So now my wall is like,
I think I was at that. I was very real in that moment for not too long ago. But a mother has a job more than that motherly job is real deal.
A good mother, good father are the individuals that ultimately
two.
will sacrifice whatever it takes for the family, right? They don't put themselves first when it
That's
comes
right.
to those decisions that got to be made, so on. But going back to your point, Greg, they don't need to know all your struggles.
Well,
they just have to respect you at the end of the day. That's what it is. You know, no, they weren't there for the tile,
Right.
but do they have to be there? You weren't there for her tiles.
True.
But you respect where each one of you have accomplished, where you're at in life, and you guys come up with whatever agreement works amongst you guys.
I think to the point is your spouse is not the enemy; they're the ally
Yeah, they're your partner.
in every aspect of life.
That's the way it needs to be looked at.
You should not be. It should not be like. Oftentimes I hear my wife and like she won't stop. They're miserable. Like, what are you doing to fix that? Life's way too short to be battling with your significant other the whole time.
I mean, your spouse shouldn't be a competition or an everyday battle.
Never.
No.
Never.
That's how you end up in a divorce.
I think it's conducive. We probably can all agree, right? I don't know if you've done this before, but and a mindset I try to adopt. I almost take my relationship the way I take my business, where I'm like trying to set goals for my relationship. You know what I mean? Trying to hit certain milestones. Because a lot of times what happens is you fall into complacency. And then when you are comfortable, then what do you think? Well, I did the laundry and I did the dishes and I did this. And what are you doing? And now it becomes competitive where it's
not exciting. It's boring.
But if you're planning for whether it's an income goal or a vacation goal or a family goal or a community goal, you have something you're working together towards, well, now there's more unity. There's always going to be disagreement, right? That's with anything. But if there's a bigger thing that tie you guys together, a lot of times it could be kids. I think that's where you see more successful relationships and marriages. Now I'm 30. I've only been in my relationship 5.5 years, but looking at my parents who have been together 30 plus years and other people, that's what I see is that, they had something bigger than their petty problems that brought them together.
What was it?
Me. Come on. No, but me, my two sisters.
Yeah.
I've seen my parents sacrifice everything for the three of us. Like my dad wanted to go play professional hockey and he wanted to go overseas and he had an opportunity to sign a contract and do that. And instead, my mom was like, listen, if you want to be with me, you got to stay here. And he gave up maybe his individual selfish dream for the family.
Amazing.
And he swung a hammer for his
he wouldn't change that.
God bless Dad. Yeah.
That's
great.
He says it all the time. He's like, I wish I could have went and done this. He goes, but I wouldn't trade it for what I have a few kids. And
I don't know. I think we have a unique. Everybody sitting here has got a unique thing though, is that we live life how we want. When we wake up, we grind, we make our money. We wake up, we take care of our kids, we have a good time. We wake up, we mow the lawn. We wake up and do what we got to do to take care of life.
You mow your lawn?
Yes, sir.
I use pristine.
Well, he's got the other property.
I was gonna say, I know I mow at least like 3 of them.
Yeah, right.
I enjoy it. I enjoy getting out there. I think it's a piece of. I don't want to go to my rental properties and fucking do it.
No thanks. It'll take me like 3 days. I'm gonna say.
But I enjoy it. I don't have that big of a lawn, and I go out there and I zone out. It gets me out of the computer, you know.
It's an interesting topic though, because I think the family, it just ties into the state of the world, right? Like, are people having less kids, and why are they having less kids? And I think it comes down to the foundation of the family, and like you said, with religion, and there's a lot of things I think that tie into it, as opposed to just people reproducing with one another, you know. And then there are a lot of broken homes, I think, that when those kids grow up, they don't want to have kids because they're like, I had 2 houses, and there was never this. They never grew up and had Christmas and did Halloween and had their cousins over and had all these good experiences. So hopefully that stuff will all come back. You know, I don't think the fight's over, but
Yeah, unfortunately, I feel that that's by design. That it's no longer priority.
Right.
That the family comes first.
Correct.
Right. It's nobody's number one goal when they're growing up is family, and I think that's designed. That's not what we're taught anymore.
right.
Right? Society's trying to make sure you're staying busy and you're working not one job, two,
Yeah.
not one career, multiple.
Yeah.
Right? 'Cause you got to keep up. You got
Yeah.
to keep up with the Joneses and all the memberships and so on. Right?
I think a lot of people blow a lot of money on stupid stuff, and you see people that have kids that don't make millions of dollars, don't make hundreds of. Their money is not something that comes easy for them, but they know how to stretch a dollar very far to take care of their family,
Right.
and they don't spend money on stupid stuff. And it's like if we really think about it, I'd be like, I spent 40 on that, 50 on this. Did I really need that? I spent this money on that, and I never even used it or touched it, wore it, or
Right.
whatever.
Thought about it.
It's like what I literally blew.
Call her back.
And when you're family oriented and you get
Exactly.
but when you're they need that dollar, but if you spend money wisely and you're conscious about what it's going for, it doesn't. You don't have to have millions of dollars to have a big family or a good family. You just got to spend the money the right way.
You know what I love to see though? When I met Emilio, I think it was like a year later after I met you. I think you had your son. How old is he now?
6.
6. I think he might have been 4, maybe 5. But you had him selling lemonade, and he was like not just selling lemonade. Like, he set up the stand and he was soliciting customers, and it was cool. It was like you're breeding a mind, you know, and you're breeding like a contributor to society. And I like to see that stuff when it comes to families.
Not to mention
an
you're having
active
fun.
He did
involvement.
well. He made $117, and most people don't have cash. So we figured out next time we're hitting them with Venmo. So they're not getting away because so many people are like, "Oh, I don't have cash." So
Emilio
we
5.
figured out that
He bought him a cell phone so we can do the tap.
I taught him about a profit and loss statement, and he
Really?
actually squeezed lemons, and I don't know how much he took in, but we went over it all.
Oh, he's never gonna forget
and
it though.
And it was nice. And
Well,
we're gonna do it again.
But yeah, I was gonna say repeat it, version or.
The lessons
Do it
might need to be
again.
repeated, but the memory and the experience will be there.
It only took him one time. Next time he clears a G note.
Next time he has a gold chain, he's like, lemonade, lemonade.
I'm gonna get a video from Emilio's son. I want to do this for my dad's birthday. This part of the yard. No, but that was. I remember seeing that. I was like, that's badass. You know, you don't see a lot of that happening.
The people that do are uber successful or uber famous for whatever they do. You see pictures and videos and recordings of what they did when they were 6, 5. Tiger Woods is on the night show in Chipping when he was 2. You know what I mean? Like that, it starts now. Like
Consistency.
right now.
Which you taught me. Consistency. I trust consistency. And I didn't realize that until you pointed that out. When somebody's doing the same thing, either bad or good, right? I'm like, well, that's who they are because that's what they do. And when I see that people are consistent in whatever their business is or whatever habits they have, I'm like, all right, well, that's their identity and they know it and they're honing in on it. So to do that when you're a kid, middle school, high school, college, it's like, where do you think he's going? He's going to the top. And you can't fake that.
Time is now.
You can't fake that and you can't buy that and you can't have any filters, right? Or editing for hard work and just day-to-day grind.
what you pointed out that Emilio was doing with his son, that's something I think in society we're failing more. Because it's not about going out, having a family. It's how you're raising your family. You know, are we really doing a better job? We're not. We don't have the time. You know, we're not working 35 hours, 40 hours anymore. And who's paying the price is the family, is those ethics. We're not paying attention to our kids as a society. I'm not talking about us,
Yeah.
but as a society, you know. And then we see these kids growing up and we complain about them. Oh, when I was his age, we were doing X, Y, Z, X, Y, Z. Well, you raised them. That's your fault. That's not his fault.
That's right.
All right.
Are they gonna be good at playing iPhone games, or are they gonna be good at solving people's problems and providing a value?
Whatever it is did they raise themselves or did you raise them?
Mm.
Right? Did the iPhone raise them? Did the tablet raise them? Or did you actually put
Because
in that
you're
time?
gonna get a different human if you let that iPhone take over.
Yeah, and well, that is what's happening. You know, the iPhone or we're calling it the iPhone, but that's the new babysitter, right? Because you want a kid to disappear for you need a moment for yourself, give him an iPhone, gone, easy. And everybody takes the easy route, and that is the easiest route.
I don't let my son do it at restaurants. No screens. He sits there. It sucked for a while. For a good year and a half, 2 years, it was awful.
Well, he's squeezing lemons in the back.
Oh,
We know what he's doing.
But no, awful. I mean, it's like, when you're with a kid, they really test your patience. But now he just sits there. We play tic-tac-toe, rock, scissors, paper, whatever. We're quiet, but we're good. But you know what we learn? We learn eye contact and we learn social skills. And it's so powerful. And then, he's also in karate. And I want to give a shout out to Mastery Martial Arts, Anthony Pizzillo, Michael Pizzillo, all the folks over at Mastery Martial Arts, because right? These kids, they learn self-respect. They learn respect for others. They learn how to work in a team environment. You walk into that place, it's like walking into a Catholic school. They open the door for you. They say hello. How are you? They have manners. They're polished. They're in uniform. Okay.
They practice discipline before that they have to actually use martial arts.
These are going to be effective people in our society, and we need to applaud businesses like that. We need to be behind organizations like that. We don't need to be ripping those things down, so whatever you can do. If you're in a spot where you have a little bit of money, you're making you're doing well, you don't know what to do with it, why don't you go sponsor a kid that has nothing and give them a scholarship to a karate studio, something like that. I mean, kids need that. A lot of kids don't have dads. That's the big problem, right? A lot of kids don't have fathers. They have a mom raising them. The moms are trying. They're doing everything that they can, but they're indoctrinated by today's culture, which is not good either.
I know when school got out, my ass was in my dad's work truck. Summer vacation was working for my dad. He gave me, started out $10 a day. Then I got to, I got him up there a little bit. But second to that, and I didn't want to be anywhere else.
Yeah.
He was doing cool stuff all the time. And some kids, summer vacation, the iPhone was hanging out with them, or they're up to no good or something like that. Me, I was second school got out. I was in that work truck working with him all over the place. I saw beautiful homes that it was his job sites that he would deliver tools and fasteners, and I learned a lot about construction then. Learned about doing business. Daily events that happen, we talk about it in the truck, because what else are you gonna do in the truck? I was grinding like that, and I didn't have a phone until I could pay for one myself. I had to share one with my sister.
Damn,
until I could pay
texting other guys.
We were
Sorry, this is Matt. But
my sister would kick your ass, so be careful.
She would.
No, but I think
She kicked both of our asses at the same time.
tying back to what I was saying earlier about Christianity or faith or whatever it may be, Christianity, amongst other faiths, is that was a meaning for people, and family was a meaning for people. And I feel like now people, they don't have that meaning that they used to have. So now what is people's meanings? They get tied into a career, they get tied into a political movement, they get tied into a talking point about a political movement, and it takes away from the foundation, I think, which is family, right, and faith. And I think it begets the same, right? When you don't have that family and the faith, and you're tied into your career, you're tied into these political movements, then it kind of it's like a revolving door, right? Because then now you're raising kids, if you have them, that also don't have a meaning, and they don't have a foundation, they don't have a core. So just talking to you guys, I mean, I know you, I know Emilio, starting to get to know you as well. But it seems like you guys all kind of have that foundation, which is cool. It's important, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think that's like the core, like the genesis of the problems. Is having that family foundation.
I think there's too many people that are afraid to fail, and I'm not afraid to fail. I don't want to fail ever. But that's real life. Like you have to in order to know what it's like to win. And people just are too. I don't want to do that because I don't want to mess it up, or I don't want to.
What will everybody think of me
Right.
if I make a mistake?
Exactly. Failure is a hard lesson to learn, but like that's what we get up and do new things every single day. Have new conversations, meet new people.
And nobody cares about you or
if
me the way that you think
This
they
is my
do.
first podcast. If I don't hit it out of the fucking park,
Well, we put you in the center.
This is not your first
Can we
podcast.
zoom in on
Well.
bulge, by the way?
right?
What was let's go around. What was your first job?
I ended up going through a city program, and I worked for the Pawtucket Police Station in the records department. So it was BIFCAP city program, and they would just find jobs for kids in different environments. And me, I was fortunate enough. I got this pretty good job at Pawtucket Police Station. I got to look up everybody's records, see what they had.
Delete. He didn't do that. He didn't do that.
I know that guy. It doesn't sound like him.
You know what? It was a cool job. It was a cool, for first job. I was 14, so the program allowed you to enter at 14 years old. It was a summer job.
That's awesome.
That is. I not paid my first job. My first paid job, funny enough, was landscaping, cutting grass. But before that, I used to work with my dad, summer debates. It wasn't always on summer breaks, but basically any time that I was free, if I wasn't playing hockey, I was with my dad doing demo work, doing construction work, running tools. And I don't know if I was just born this way or if it's because I worked with him, but I always liked working with my hands. So I enjoyed it, taking something that was a POS and turning it into something nice. But yeah, that was my first job. And I started cutting lawns. And I've been doing that ever since.
Nothing wrong with that.
No.
I love it. I love cutting lawns.
That's how I met you, and you, and you, and you, and you.
Mine was my father, and then landscaping. I landscaped for a summer, and then I got sick. I didn't want to mow everybody else's lawn, and that's a grind. That's you talk about. You just showed up at the house that you cut last week yesterday. That's how it's like. So that lasted for a good summer, and then valet. Valet is where I worked for many years.
That's one job I wish, like when I was in high school, I did, because like I had a beat up Volvo, and I'm like, my buddy valeted, and he was driving the Benzes and the wagons. And
I've driven all the nice cars, but I've driven a lot of shit boxes too.
Yeah.
A lot.
But that's a cool job, though.
A beautiful job. Yeah, it was great. It
You
was.
meet a lot of people.
Yeah, you learn how to deal business, and you know how to make connections and work. Meet really wealthy people, and then not so still provide the same service for people that don't that might not tip you.
Did you know how to drive stick shift?
Oh, I love driving a stick. Standard. My first car was a standard.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
My buddy was valet, never drove it in his life. They pulled up a car with the stick shift.
I got it.
Yeah, he got behind it. He was like, I was going backwards down a hill. The brakes are grinding.
If you have a stick, a sports car, you can't let the valet take it. Most kids these days don't know how to.
I hate
Because
valet.
they knew I was good.
Do you?
Oh
Oh,
yeah.
I love it.
You don't like it?
No, I don't valet.
I've spent enough money this year. I've spent a lot of money on valet.
It's not about the money.
No, I know it's not about, but
Well, I just tip
it's
them.
about-
I tip them enough that I'm the front spot every time.
What was your first job? Or you got something else on valet?
Well, I want to know.
No, I just want to know why he does valet. That's all.
Why don't you like convenience?
Well,
What do you got in your car?
No. I just feel that it's just a lot of trust to give somebody. What about your rims? What about your car? Like seriously, no, like
Fuck
dude,
those
like,
rims.
You think they're gonna jack it up while you're having
No,
dinner?
like,
and-
I'm going to drive it the way you're going to.
To ease defense, me being a valet, I know when I'm valeting and when
Like
I'm
then
not.
you got to fight against that. You're out of a restaurant. You probably had a couple drinks and stuff. You might be like, all right, let's just go home.
Have
type
you
of
had a
thing.
bad experience?
I don't have valet experiences.
Okay.
You should try it. It's right up your alley.
I've valeted
It is
before, but I
right.
don't know.
You park in
I'm
the
not,
front.
I'm not that
you
fancy.
leave.
I
come
park
back
in the
out and you
way
drive
back.
away.
I park far away, and I do it on purpose because
That's true.
you gotta walk, and
When
you
we
gotta
went out to
walk.
dinner last time, and I walked to your car, I should have put my running shoes on. You were so friggin' far
Yeah,
away.
always. I park far.
Well, another convenient thing about being a valet is that because I was a valet, I know all the valets now, and they let me park my own car.
Oh,
I want to hear Emilio's first job, though.
So my first job, like real first job, right, was working at a gas station. I was pumping gas. I was scrubbing gas station floors, wiping down tools. They tried to teach me how to change oil in a car. I couldn't do it. It was just like I realized how much I hated that lifestyle. I would leave there smelling like grease, like oil. I hated it. You know, the garage was closed, the exhaust was in there. So shout out to all the mechanics out there because that's a very difficult job. And I grew up around that, and my uncle owned the business. It was called Main Street Auto. My uncle passed a couple of years ago, but he left such a good impression on me, and he ran such a great business. And but I knew I didn't want to be doing that the rest of my life.
That's almost like completely different, but like busboys in a restaurant. It's like the lowest level work, hard work, underappreciated, but the lessons.
How can you be a good landscaping boss if you don't know how to weed whack?
Oh, absolutely.
You know?
I'm glad I did. I'm glad I smelt the oil and the grease, and my clothes smelled like shit. My nails had all of that in there because you know what I mean. And you were saying like blue collar workers are without them, the whole country would fall apart. Legit. You got to treat these people good. You got to treat them right. And when you said that, it brought me back to my days of doing that, removing office furniture. And I remember how poorly people treated me. And it's sad. So you got to treat everybody good. Janitor, the movers, the gas station attendants. There's not many of those anymore, but you know.
What do you think happens in like 5 years when Musk develops the AI robot that he's working on right now, and they take care of all of the blue collar, low level work?
No, you can't replace people, man. You know, I don't know. I love Elon Musk. I think he's great. He's a visionary.
I do too. I just think, to your point, though, it's
Yeah.
detrimental. Like, I think it's amazing, but I also see the writing on the wall.
Yeah.
It's not going to stop.
Certain stuff is.
I think
gonna
the
go
people that
away,
buy into
but-
the AI are gonna weed, like they're gonna weed themselves out of life. Like they're not doing anything. They're not living life if the robot's doing everything for you.
I think we're all doing that. That's why if you're looking for an employee, you can't find one. So yeah, that's gonna be replaced.
Yeah,
You know,
solid. A lot of people don't want to work.
every business owner I talk to, their number one struggle, and it does not matter what industry it is, they can't find an employee to do the job. Not like, you know, if I go back 20 years, people are I can't find the right skill level. Right now, they'll take anybody, and they still can't.
2 feet in a heartbeat, they say. Yeah.
You can't get fired these days. When was the last time you heard somebody getting fired? Listen, nobody gets fired. You can't be replaced
Yeah.
because nobody wants to.
Speaking of work, though, to finish off, what was your first job?
what do you guys think?
I think I know what your first job was. You told
Take a
me.
guess.
We're a hairstylist.
No, he was doing construction, I'm pretty sure, right?
Nope.
No?
Restaurant.
Restaurant.
Oh,
Dishwasher at a pizza restaurant.
I didn't know that.
Giuseppe's Pizza, Italian place. I grew up in Naugatuck, 25,000 people, and it was the spot. Everybody go to Giuseppe's. It was all you can drink beer on Tuesdays today, and it's still open today. $5. But like, just the guys would come in, the yellow shirt guys, they would just come in, just dirt, and they would just drink, bro.
Yeah.
I bet you your dishes in your house are the cleanest.
The cleanest.
On earth.
I got this Brazilian lady. She does. So I would get $5 an hour cash, right?
No big deal.
Sophomore in high school, and I could pick one thing off the menu.
Oh, there you go.
So I would get the sausage broccoli rabe. It was the most expensive thing. It was $14.95. And my dad would drop me off at 5:30. He would pick me up at 10. So he would pick me up, drop me off, and it was just like, you know, a year or two of that. And then I started working construction, gained that appreciation. I'm the biggest blue collar supporter you'll ever know.
Yeah.
Because my dad did that. I was around that. My whole community was blue collar. Nobody was rich where I come from. Everybody was like just kind of
Making it happen.
they would go to a restaurant maybe 3-4 times a year, like a nice restaurant. Everything was very rice, beans, steak, hot dogs, hamburgers, pizza. Like that's how I grew up.
Jean
And
shorts.
jean shorts, country music,
Khakis.
cigarettes. They call them lung
Jackets.
darts. Everybody's smoking lung darts.
Yeah.
Baseball was big, and they supported the local football team, and like it was a true community. Go to church. That assholes here. Like it was like that, but we
Yeah.
all kind of we were together, worked together,
Yeah, that's cool.
and that's no longer.
You just don't have that now.
Nope.
It is though. It's just pockets.
It's
I
fine.
I agree.
Places.
I
I don't
agree,
think it's all
100%.
despair.
I think if you move around, you'll bump into it.
I think family's still a pretty big important thing, and I think
It is.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's hope.
No, I think it's
There's a
just
lot of
the people that aren't doing that. They're just louder. They're just more loud.
They have nothing to do.
No.
They're lonely. That's why
Well,
they're taking selfies.
You got to keep in mind
It's
too.
like-
what,
it's
Not just one, too.
Yeah.
what's driving revenue, right? Like, what are you actually going to sit there and watch? It's the discourse, right? They're not going to sit down and show you this wholesome family who's sitting around a dinner table, getting together and loving one another. It's like, okay, next. It's like they're showing you the discourse, they're showing you the
Yeah.
violence. So even though it's like you were saying in pockets, that's what we see because that's what drives revenue. It's what drives viewership, which pays for the ads, which drives the money.
Growing up, I thought that was the norm, just a tight family. Like
Yeah,
if you jumped into my house March on a Tuesday, it didn't matter what day, you thought it was
Yeah.
Thanksgiving dinner.
Right.
We would have dinner,
Open door policy.
open doors. There was always extra food. We would figure out how to share. There was always extra people at the house, and I just thought that was the norm. That's how everybody's family was. And not till I left the house, went to college, and I started seeing how everybody else's homes function, and people were pointing out like, "Sam, no, that's not the way my house is." Well, I remember even when I started dating, girl, like, you speak to your mom every day. I'm like, yeah, you don't.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Like you don't. Like what's
All of a
wrong with
sudden,
you?
I'm a mama's boy. I'm like,
Yeah,
I thought this
exactly.
was
What's wrong with
normal.
you? You don't like your mother? Like, no, I just don't.
Yeah.
But yeah, it wasn't the norm
That's
even me
true.
growing up. And I think that's something that has continued to diminish nowadays.
Yeah.
Yes, there's still out pockets, but I think it's been minimized much at this level.
Yeah.
One thing that happens in my family is that everybody contributes something. I'm not saying equal contribution, but if you're having Sunday dinner and everybody's coming over, bring water, soda, pizza, just something. Bring something for everybody to share, and that when that comes together, nice. There's more than enough for everybody, and it's never too much of a burden on one person. And so you contribute something,
Potluck.
Yeah. Or if you don't bring something, you're cleaning the dishes.
Right. Or playing fetch with Tucker.
That's something. You're doing something. You don't come here and do nothing.
Greg, Sunday dinner at my house. I heard your first job was a dishwasher. I'm gonna need you in the back.
Retired, the best dishwasher.
And you can pick one item off the menu.
Broccoli Rob.
What I was going to say is I think that there's a need. There's a basic and human need for families. And there's a basic human need for religion. There's a basic human need for spirituality, whatever it is. There's basic human need for this stuff, and it's not being fulfilled. People are unhappy. They're depressed. They're lonely. More than ever, there's all sorts of stuff going on. And the easy solve to that is just that. Literally, like, let's get back to our roots, right? So, like, what can we do in our messaging? What can we do in our daily life? What can we teach our kids?
That's what I was
All
gonna
that
ask.
stuff is.
What can we do to help?
There's only so much we can do, right? But if we're doing it, if we're handling our own, and then it just spreads out. But
Lead by example.
But I also think that's a huge business and marketing opportunity too, is people need it, and everyone's way off in left coast over here. You know what I mean? Like, come on. People are done with it. They're sick of it. That trend is done. It's done. I'm telling you, it's going right back center. It's going right. Okay, the pendulum swings every few years, political or not. It just does, and that's what makes this country fantastic. Is the opportunity that arises whenever there's any kind of change like that. And there's a big change that's about to happen because people are sick and tired of the bullshit. They're sick and tired of the lies. They're sick and tired of being spoken to like we're a bunch of idiots. We're not. We're educated people. And there's a lot of people, unfortunately, that aren't so much, but we got to get away from that and back to certain traditional values. And just, at the end of the day, there's massive opportunity there for businesses And there's massive opportunity there for people to really take advantage of that.
I think it's a total waste of time to try to convince anybody verbally or in writing that argument, that side of the argument. There's nothing you're going to say that's going to change their minds. The way you do it is you live that life.
Yeah.
And then
Consistency.
and you good person, do the next right thing. The next right thing will happen, and you just do that, and people will follow you because they're like, damn, Emilio is going to be. He's going to show me how it's done. You show me instead.
He's already shown me too.
And I see too
show
many
me
people.
again.
Too many people are arguing about it that don't get anywhere. They don't get anywhere by like having any sort of like, they don't. Oh, now that you said that, you enlightened me. No. You got to show by example. Is the most effective way.
What's a good example? Talking to the family men, but everyone can chime in. What's a good example? What's something you do that's like a staple of your family? Keeping you guys together, having a good time. Just someone like, I don't have kids right now, but I do have a good example of my family, but I always like to learn from people. Like, what do you guys do in your home that you're like, I would never replace this,
And it's going to go back to, we keep mentioning the word consistency and how important it is. It's just being consistent, having a day that you shouldn't only spend that dedicated day to your family, but let's say you have a movie night with Taco Tuesday on Tuesday, whatever that is, that day is booked. That's what you do. Your kids look forward to it. You look forward to it. That's on the agenda. Yeah. Even if the rest of the week got hammer slam, you at least got one. Yeah. Shouldn't be the only one.
Right. But you have at least that.
But I think that's something nice to have.
Yeah.
I invited this guy to multiple things. He's like, nope, I had my son that night. He won't go. And he doesn't give a care less what the hell's going on. It does not matter. He's hanging out with his son that night, and that's the best.
Yeah,
you should.
Do you do something like that? I mean, I know you're.
Well, I think that's it. Like working now, but because it's not just me and my wife anymore. It's me and my wife and our child.
Yeah,
and he's 4 months old on the first, so 4 months and a week. So like this is all very new, but the time is now to do it.
Yeah,
right. This is when you start.
Right now, it's all hands on.
If not, then it'll never happen.
We always did supper, dinner, 5 o'clock.
Supper too. How about the word supper? I love supper.
That's what we called it.
And then Rhode Islanders say down cellar. You ever hear that? Down cellar.
That's what we call it.
We call it a basement in Connecticut. You guys call it cellar.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say it was every night, right? Sundays I would have loved that. My girlfriend's family did that every Sunday. They had the big family dinner. Everyone got together. But my parents, it was like 5 o'clock. We're sitting down, we're having dinner every single night, and that was like some of the best memories. Getting smacked over the head for saying something stupid.
Weekend doesn't feel complete without it.
Yeah.
If you don't have it, and you're like, yeah, I didn't have a good weekend.
Yeah.
You guys feel like kids need to get picked on a little bit?
Yeah.
I used to get picked on, bullied.
I'm pro-bullying.
I love when he gets going on this.
I was like, yeah, and I mean, people still.
We got a lot of subject matter here.
We're gonna hear about this. We're gonna hear about it. But I agree.
So yeah, right. No, but people always have something to say. So I grew up like poor, right? Not poor, but lower middle class, right? My mom used to collect cans. And they used to take some of these proceeds and they would pay for my education with it. Legit, it's crazy, right? Like to think back like that, right? But as a kid in a Catholic school, right? I had the Cobras instead of the Jordans. I had these big pedophile-looking glasses. Okay, I know. Part of the reason why I like to wear it is because it reminds me of who I am, right? Like so, I grew up with the glasses on, all that stuff. Got made fun of, picked on. Non-fucking stop for years and years and years as a kid, right? But ultimately, what did it teach me? It taught me the underdog needs support.
Yep.
The underdog needs love, right? Don't shit on people. And also, it makes you resilient. And it makes you also not be a weirdo, okay? It's okay to be different, a little different, right? But no one is picking on kids anymore. They're like, oh, you want to piss in a cat litter box in the back of the classroom? You could be a little furry. No,
bring back bullying.
It's like, look, I'm not saying that in a way like, oh my God, and I don't care. Think what you want, but But ultimately, at the end of the day, humans have this thing that keep everybody in check in a certain way, keep everybody normal to a certain way. And when you really coddle people too much and don't let people be humans,
100%.
then what happens is we got a bunch of mentally ill wacko weirdos everywhere.
At the end
Kids
of the day,
pissing
that-
in boxes in classrooms.
I agree 100%. That is part of growing up. That is part of preparing yourself for the real world.
Yeah, the real world.
Right? Because when you go to work or you go work at corporate America and you think you're not going to get bullied the second you step in there and you don't understand how to manage that scenario, you're not going to go too far. You're not going to go too far.
To piggyback on that, though, I bet that is, and maybe you realize this, maybe you don't. I bet that is what makes you a very good leader and business owner. Is because you're not judging people at face value, because you were always judged at face value, and you're like, let me talk to this person.
Let's see
Let me
what they
listen to
got.
this person. I know growing up, I had older siblings, I had older cousins, and I was always getting picked on as a little kid. But I love it because I know when I went to school, or when I was in a job, right, or as I was in business, I was never the one. I was like looking for the person who would be picked on, and be like, let me try and like hear this person. And they always had value to bring, right? And so it's cool. It's like you do need that, and then you also kind of pass it forward.
If it doesn't happen when you're a kid and it happens when you're an adult and you don't know how to deal with it, you crumble.
Yeah.
You break like a. You're done. You're never showing up to work tomorrow.
Oh, take
Like
a
you
couple
guys.
minutes to calm down.
If I don't know how to deal with bullies, I want to be.
Right? You gotta. It's
No, it's a good point that you bring up.
now you're out in this world and we're getting bullied by all sorts of special interests. We're getting bullied by all sorts of, crazy things now. And if you're thinking more conservatively, if you're thinking family, if you're thinking religion, Jesus, all that stuff, now they shit on you. And that's wrong. So it's like somebody needs to stand the ground. And there's many people that are. There's a lot of people that are.
If you practice what you preach every day, you end up not hearing the bullshit because you're too focused on
Whatever.
You're not you're not in the phone. You're not in the social media. You're in life, and you don't like. Oh, did you see what happened? Nah. I was hanging out with my kid.
Bobby said it. He said it's taboo. He said the news, like the old ways, are taboo. You said it, bro. They made it taboo.
That's what happens.
Yeah.
Right? Like back
But
in the
people
day,
drive towards
blue
that, though.
hair was taboo.
Yeah.
Now it's normal.
Yeah, now it's not.
Being a man of faith and having a family was normal. Now it's taboo. It's like it's flipped.
Crazy.
One of my favorite quotes by Greg Rice, I asked him, I said, "Are you spiritual?" He said, we were talking. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. I said, "Do you ever go to church?" He said, "I don't go to church. I buy churches."
I said that.
I just wanted
I
to give a
did
little
say
plug
that.
there.
No, you
I was
did
like-
that. You did that.
I was like, that's fucking badass because it's true. That's cool.
I grew up going to church, right?
Yeah.
But I
Doesn't
never
support our conversation. but figured it
I
was a
never
cool-
bought into
cool comment.
I never bought into church because my experience was not the way that it was intended. I saw the abuse, I saw the manipulation, I saw the vulnerabilities exploited in people based on where I lived in Connecticut. A lot of people were taken advantage of in the Catholic community, period. That's how I grew up. So you can't tell me different because that's my experience.
Right.
And I wish it wasn't my experience, but it was.
Do people get taken advantage of in business?
Oh yeah, used
people
cars.
Taken
Get your
advantage of
phone. You go in for your phone bill. You end up with
everywhere,
a Razor
everywhere.
phone. It's
just
like,
human. It happens.
but
you know?
that topic to me
just
is
happens.
very, very delicate based on what I've seen.
Yeah, but you can't judge by one thing or two things.
But I'm just saying, like, being honest about it. I
Yeah.
don't buy into it the way that it was intended, and I wish it was different. But
Well, all religions have the same needle with the same thread. They all practice the same. Be good to people. They all have a very common. They all have a very common thing. They have their differences, but they have their commonalities too. So like you don't have to be one religion or the other, but just know that there's a purpose. There's a purpose of all of it.
Let me ask this: do you guys feel like society today, because we keep talking about where we are right now is not where we should be? Do we think that we've sidetracked so far that we can't get back?
No, I think we can get back.
I'm
I think,
going-
like
I'm-
Emilio
I'm-
said,
never
the
left.
pendulum swings. I think there's a lot of good people that are still like fighting the good fight, if that's what you want to call it. at the end of the day, even if there was no way to get back from it, even if I did think that, I'm not going to stop doing my thing for myself and my family and my friends and my community. And I think if you can adopt that individual mindset, hopefully there's a trickle down effect. But if not, you just got to hopefully be resolute and be like, I'm not going to compromise my values for what's going on around me. So to answer your question, yes, I do. But even if it was no, I don't, I still got to stay true to myself, you know?
Well, that's you. I mean, as a society.
As a
Like,
society,
as
yes,
a society. Like, do you still believe in the society that you live in
I can come back.
to come back to what
Or
where
even
you feel
progress.
is a healthy state
I
for
think we can.
humanity?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Do you see anybody working in that direction?
I listen to guys
Or
like
is
Ray
it or is it
Dalio.
just wishful thinking?
No, like I'll pass it on after this. But like if you listen to like Tony Robbins, you listen to Ray Dalio, you listen to Elon Musk, you listen to these people who are like changing industries and are thought provoking people, philosophers in a way. They talk about not only the progressions of like technology, but just society as a whole. And if you look at poverty now, poverty 100 years ago, racism now, racism 100 years ago, incarceration now, incarceration 100 years, education, everything has moved in the positive direction. We just don't hear it and see it. And I think it's going to continue to move in those directions. And I think with the evolution of technology, it's going to move even quicker and faster. But again, we're not hearing it and seeing it because that's not what gets views and that's not what gets clicks. But if you look at just the baseline, what is the level of humanity's poorest among us now compared to the past? They are the richest they've ever been. And that gives me hope.
It was the best thing you've said all day. Final thoughts, Sam. Go ahead.
In terms of what?
What's
He just posed a good
after
question.
this indoctrination, what do you think? What's your thoughts? I could go first if you want. Yeah. So my final thought, and I'm gonna look at the camera for this one, is you have a mental health problem because you have a physical health problem. So you are nervous, you're scared, you're depressed, you're anxious because you're not taking care of your body. You're not taking care of the food that you put in it, the fuel that fires your engine. So I think we can fix the world by maybe promoting an apple once in a while, or a bottle of water, and stop running on Dunkin', on sugar, on caffeine, on drugs, on alcohol, on marijuana, on edibles to sleep, on this to wake up, on this to do your day, on this to wind down. We become a drug addicted, overweight, and underperforming society. So I think if we all got a little bit more fit, not saying that I'm John Cena, but I've been maintaining. We've been bike riding. I've been doing the yoga in the gym. And I'm like, wow, I wake up and I go to sleep on left lane status without even trying. And I think if you all took care of what you put in your face and your eyes, you'd be better off, and you wouldn't need a pill, or you wouldn't need to order a large Domino's pizza to feel better. You know what I'm saying? So that's mine. Is you got a mental health problem because you got a physical health problem. That's my final thought.
A lot of thinking.
I think all day.
So I think, and I'll look at the camera, I think that perception is reality, unfortunately, and that's the bad thing. So a lot of people perceive things as, being crazy, like way off. A lot of people aren't in touch anymore with the foundations and the family values and the American ways. That's the biggest lie out there. That's the enemy telling you that. That's absolutely wrong. Social media has been bought and people spend way too much time on it, but there is still an opportunity to take that back. And we're actually seeing it. Look at Mark Zuckerberg just said, he brought this up to me, Greg. He said that he is not endorsing Biden. He's not endorsing any political candidate. And now you got these massive social media companies seeing you go woke, you go broke type of thing. Okay, so all of that stuff you're going to see start to change, the pendulum start to swing. And really, I think perception, it unfortunately, again, is reality. But I think you're going to start to see more of a traditional reality kind of set in over the next couple of years.
Things I've been doing to this point have got me to sit in this seat with you guys, and I'm thankful for that.
Center seat too.
And I'm living a life of thanks currently. So Thankful for being here. Thankful for what I got. Thankful for what's coming down the road. And I appreciate you guys. And, that's just, I'm going to roll with that.
I don't have much. I would just say, having kind of like what you were saying earlier, right? People are afraid to fail. Just have a little bit of faith in yourself, believe in yourself, whether it's you want to start a family, if you want to start a business, if you want to talk to that guy or girl, just have a little bit of confidence in yourself, right? Because I really do believe everything happens for a reason, right? Like your biggest failures probably do set you up for your biggest successes. It might sound cliche, but ask anybody in a position of success, and I guarantee you that they can attest to that. So if there's any like closing note or message I would want people to hear is that just believe in yourself, take a chance and know it's going to work out for the best and be optimistic to your question, be optimistic in yourself and for the future.
For me, I'm going to say we need to start to continue to live outside of this box, right? Continue to think outside of the box. Because today's box has really been designed and really has been created by, unfortunately, corporate government. And we just need to learn how to think outside of it and don't be scared to live outside of that box. And that's it.
Nice. I like it.
Thank you all for
Thank you.
episode 91. And just a quick roundtable. Sam Alba, Remax Innovations, Bobby Pagliarini, Pristine Lawn Care, Master Bates, Movement Mortgage, Emilio Despirito IV, Engel Volkers, and Greg Rice, Nexus Property Management. And a big thank you to Namra. We thank you guys, and we're going to head over to Tel Aviv to have a puff
Beautiful.
and a little bit of munch and another cocktail, and we'll go from there.
Nice.
Awesome.
Thank you for having me.
Until next time.
Yeah.
Thanks, bro.
Stuff.